Sunday, I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Today on the program, IMF urges Nigeria to increase tax, reduce borrowing. Nigerians invite EFCC to arrest kit maker Sabinos for promoting Ponzi scheme. As Rusawe pleads with Lagos government, says cultural sensitivity should guide creative tourism activities. Bakdi Wase Betara Doguwa lead the race for House of Reps Speaker's job. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Chris Kende Nwandu. If you're ready, Journalist Hangout starts now. Thank you for staying with us. Well, it looks like Alhassan Doguwa is proving to be the energizer bunny of Nigerian politics as it keeps bouncing back. With his victory over the NNPP's Yashao Salihu, he secured his 5th term at the House of Representatives. Some say Doguwa's victory is a testament to his hard work and dedication to serving his constituency. Love him or hate him, one can't deny that the man knows how to get things done. Meanwhile, INEC has overruled the resident electoral commissioner who declared Aisha Binane winner of the governorship election in Adamawa State, halfway into collation of results. Bikeo. Let me say one thing that makes this interesting is the events that surrounded the announcement of the results, where the returning officer said he made this announcement under duress. How true is that?
The returning officer or the REC?
The REC, pardon me.
The REC claimed that he made it under duress.
Yes.
Was he supposed to make the announcement? Because not his, in his power. He has no power by the Electoral Act to announce the results of an election. That is the job of the returning officer. They've gone halfway on this. 10 local governments, they've released the results of 10 local governments. The exercise began yesterday, and it was the returning officer as well as the INEC national officer in charge of Adamawa State that were in charge. From the results of 10 local governments announced yesterday, the PDP candidate, that's the governor, scored 4,085. APC candidate, Binane, scored 3,128. The governor was leading Binane by 37,016 votes or so after the first round of elections. We knew that given the usual party that goes with supplementary elections or by-elections, that it will be difficult to overtake the governor. In any case, a lot of the places where the election will take place are the governor's strongholds. I talked about this to try and calm down people who thought that a miracle was still possible. Where the bulk of the elections will hold in the governor's strongholds, and is leading by about 37,000 votes. How are you going to catch him? And Binane, unfortunately, in this election, even in Binane's strongholds, like Yola North, Yola South, the margin of victory was too narrow. I was expecting, for example, that in Yola South, which is the base of the Lamido Adamawa, which is one of Binane's strongholds, I was expecting that Binane will have a very strong margin. But it was just about 100 votes plus that she beat the governor. And then in Yola North, I was expecting that, okay, she will score, well over 100. But in Yola North, the results showed that she managed to win by, I think, 11 votes. How are you going to overtake the man? So it's clear that the REC had an agenda. These are the people who put Nigeria to shame. There are hardworking people in INEC. They come up with innovations to make the election more and more credible. We were all happy when Beavers came. But you cannot in just halfway into a process, you can't just go and announce that somebody had won. It is not even your responsibility. INEC, in bringing academics to function as returning officers, knew that if you are in a place as a rec for years, chances are that you will have fraternized with all kinds of people and you could be easily compromised. So they were looking to bring people not familiar with such environments and allow, and the law creates a situation whereby the rec cannot control the returning officer. You can't force the returning officer to compromise. If the returning officer wants to compromise, it won't be because of the rec. It will be because that's what he wanted to do. So the law specifically took care of that. Now a man who was handling the process since last night, you suddenly came, you hijacked it, you just went and announced. I mean, this is madness. It's like trying to set the place ablaze. And every decent human being should oppose what has happened because it's unprecedented. That a rec will just come and say, okay, now you have no right to have, it's like a judge. And we have condemned where a judge will arrest a judgment because he felt, where a CJN will arrest a judgment because he felt it will go against his friend. Or a chief judge in the state will arrest a judgment because he felt it will go against his friend. We can't allow that to happen. Let elections be won in transparent manner. Let it be clear to otherwise you are setting us back. You are taking us several steps backwards. This is terrible.
All right, Mikhail, let me allow you hold your thought while we take Ayodele Ozubako standing by to give us more update from Adamawa State. Hello, Ayodele. All right. While we return to that, we will get back to that. Now, let me have your thoughts, Sikian.
Well, am I surprised? No. I am not, because this is the kind of impunity we've been talking about. In as much as with the last election, some people felt and feel that it was the best we ever had, and the rest of them, some of us knew that there were a lot of impunity, a lot of people did what they are not supposed to do, especially on the part of INEC. And that is why you see this level of crying out from all parties and everybody about this matter. But taking it up from where he stops, the most annoying part of it is that during the announcement, you have security chiefs surrounded the rec. The commissioner of police was there. The head of the DSS was there. That of the civil defense or whatever. And other security people surrounded him, giving some level of legitimacy to what was going on. Are they saying that they don't know about the electoral acts? They don't know about the constitution and everything relating to this election, that this man that they were surrounding and giving power doesn't have such power. I saw the governor came there and was telling him that what you are doing was wrong. He was there. And he was right. But he didn't listen to him. He was really, and this is part of what we have been saying. This issue of, oh, let us announce the result, go to court, and damn the consequences. That is what that man was trying to do. Oh, I've announced the result. If you are not satisfied, go to court and challenge it. And that is the problem we're having currently. I hope and believe that that rec has been arrested. I want to believe he has not been arrested. The IG should immediately make sure that he is arrested.
No, he's been arrested. I can confirm. I have the video.
He should be arrested immediately and prosecuted. He is bringing this election to disrepute. I don't even know where he got the power to do what he did. Collation was still going on. As of this, just as BOK said, as of the last time that election was held, the governor was leading with, by about 30,000 votes. In the supplementary election, I don't think that they're going about over 40,000. I want to be corrected, because the last time I heard it was about 36 or 38 and rest of
no, every vote, the all votes they were looking for, it's about 7,000.
That's what I'm saying. You see,
so from the results of yesterday,
yes,
governor scored 4,085. She scored 3,120.
You can imagine,
and they've gone halfway.
All right, gentlemen, let's quickly take Ayo now. Good afternoon to you. So kindly give us, bring us up to speed with what is happening in Adamawa State at the moment.
Jumoke, It's surreal what happened here earlier today. Since I've been covering election, I've never seen a situation like this. And we were waiting for the 11 a.m. time given by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And lo and behold, the resident electoral commissioner, the barrister Hudu Yunusa, came in here with the commissioner of police and the DGSSS. And when they came in, he said that he's sorry for what happened yesterday, but missing here was the deputy vice chancellor of the University of Maiduguri. I'm correcting it now. It's not the vice chancellor, the deputy vice chancellor of the University of Maiduguri, who is the returning officer, official returning officer for this exercise. And what we did was that we waited for him, that, okay, the rec now went ahead. So, funniest, we didn't have media houses here. There were no party agents here. There were no observers here. The whole room was scanty. This same collation center, very scanty. But TVC News kept vigil here. And luckily, our cameraman was here, and it was the only TV station that was just keeping vigil. And at that unguarded moment, 2 hours to the appointed time, the rec came in, and with the DGSSS and the Commissioner of Police, announced Aisha Binani as the winner of that particular exercise. Before you could say Jack Robinson, I tuned into the TV, I saw Aisha Binani had already given her acceptance speech on the Nigerian Television Authority right now as I'm talking to you. Acceptance speech, accepting the victory of that particular exercise. Now, the situation we found ourselves in is that 10 of the 20 local governments, we stopped at 10, and we stopped here around 1:15 a.m. with an adjournment for Sunday 11 a.m. So people were thinking by 9:10 they will get here, wait for the officials. So by 11, I've already called my bulletin editor in Lagos, and I've already briefed Sekinat that we're expecting them by 11. These are the 10 local governments that we have their results. I gave her a graphics of that result. If we have that graphics now, it can come up. I give her that graphics of the result of the 10 local governments, and one by one, we sent it in, expecting the 10 other local governments. So the final collation with what we did, where we stopped on the 18th of March, will just be joined to whatever happened today. And the returning officer, who is the vice chancellor, deputy vice chancellor of the University of Maiduguri, would have returned the governor. So when that happened, this place was thrown into pandemonium. In one place, Governor Fintiri was reacting. It has been quite an hectic time for journalists. Another place, Aisha Binani was another place reacting too. And we had a very hard time making decision. Okay, we take this person, we take this person. Party agents were here, raining fire and brimstone. They were saying a lot of things and saying that the rec should be arrested and everything. So lo and behold, in the last 2 hours, we've seen the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, reacting to what has been happening, saying that this exercise has been suspended, and officials involved, that's the rec, and the national commissioners. They had 2 national commissioners on ground yesterday. Now, before the rec started talking today, he said it's President Muhammadu Buhari that actually appointed him as the resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa State. That nobody can usurp his power, and is the person in charge of this election. Because I saw 2 national commissioners yesterday to compliment him. So, but the onus is still on the rec to actually conduct the exercise, to see to the free flow of the exercise, not to declare the result as stated in INEC Electoral Guidelines Section 58.
So what is the situation like? Someone told me that there was some level of jubilation, but that the jubilation has stopped. What is going on now? Give us a sense of what's going on the streets of Yola now.
Okay, as I was coming into the headquarters of INEC today, it's a Sunday fasting period. Fasting is going on. Some Christians are in the church, and everywhere quiet. So the information had not filtered out as at that 9 a.m. That's what is happening. But by right now, I can tell you everywhere has been cordoned off. there's security and there's a kind of lockdown all over Yola because of the air of uncertainty. Everything that happened yesterday, while the camp of Aisha Binani, I told you that Aisha Binani has read her acceptance speech on the Nigerian Television Authority, and people congratulating her. At the same time, the governor is reacting, saying that, oh, I won the election. 2 people are laying claim. But the problem there is that officially, the Independent National Electoral Commission has not, through the returning officer, declared the results. So we are waiting. If this outcome is suspended now and any decision is taken, number one, what will happen, the worst case scenario is that the supplementary election yesterday, nothing can happen to that supplementary election. What they have to do now is the results. Since there were no complaints about violence and breakdown of law and order about the supplementary election, so it is the results. Just come out with whatever result they have to complete, the collation exercise and announce a proper winner. That is what people are looking forward to now. Journalists are still hanging around here, waiting that, look, they will hear from INEC. And if INEC exercise is going to talk, and a lot of people believe that, as a matter of fact, that this should be done within 24 hours. Because you remember, we had March 18. After March 18, it was declared inconclusive. The logistics, the security, the money, everything that was deployed to make yesterday rerun a reality is about to be undermined if care is not taken. Jide.
All right. Thank you very much, Adele Ozubako, for bringing us up to speed all the way from Adamawa State. Thank you very much. Thank you. Should let you go now. Mikhail, what do you make of that? And let me quickly ask, can there be any supplementary election after this?
No.
Okay.
No. The exercise has to be completed.
Okay.
You see, things have changed. I can tell you that by the afternoon of Sunday, Nigerians knew who had won the presidential election. Nigerians knew. Because parties set up their, what do they call these centers? They set up their own observation rooms where they monitor elections. Their agents send in results. On their own, they begin to collate. Fashola handled that for the APC. So people had an idea where they lost. For example, I knew before most people that APC had lost Kaduna. Because one of the super agents of the party called me from inside their own situation room to say, look, Jide, Kaduna is gone. I knew. So in this age and time, people have an idea. In fact, somebody already told me the margin of Governor Fintri's win in this election. They have all the results. All the 20 local government, they have all the results. So there is no contention, there was no bloodshed, there was no fighting. No violence. This election has ended. Collation was halfway. Out of these 10 local governments the results were announced yesterday, 7 of them were won by the governor. So the way it is, we just have to stick to the truth. Of course, there will be bad eggs in any group. Somebody who knows that the law does not permit him to go and announce result, and he's going to announce result. He knows what the law says, so he has made up his mind that, look, I will do it. We know why such things will happen. Sometimes if somebody, if the junior person will not cooperate, I will show him that I'm the boss. I guess that's what has happened. But we've had a lot of negative things about INEC. INEC leadership sitting in Abuja has to do what is right. Otherwise, it will have no reputation left to defend. If you allow this nonsense that just happened in Adamawa to stand, where a wreck that does not have power to announce will go and announce, definitely INEC will blame itself. And I know that we've been in this situation before, even in Kogi State. One of the House of Reps elections there was going to be a supplementary election. INEC decided in Abuja that there will not be supplementary election anymore, that a winner had emerged, and it was the candidate of the ADC that defeated the speaker, incumbent speaker of the Kogi State House of Assembly. And that election stood in the final analysis. That's what we want. It doesn't matter how big someone is. It doesn't matter how much resources is available to someone. If that person loses an election, let the election stand. This is what Nigerians want. Don't give the rest of us a bad name. Because as a country, we are going to be given a bad name if this kind of Stone Age behavior is allowed to stand. So I want to believe that even by the tone of what INEC said, that you cannot, midway into the process, just announce someone. Let us see the other results now. Why are you in an indecent haste? Let's see the results.
So, Sikian, do we blame Aisha Binani for accepting the outcome of the result?
I will say yes, because she ought to know that the person that announced that result didn't have the mandate, doesn't have the power.
Yes.
She knows very well. Aisha Binani is a senator. She knows the law very, very well. So she was jumping the gun. And why in a hurry?
So persons will call it grace.
No, it's not. That is not grace. That is not grace. That is not a definition of grace. That is not grace at all. That is not grace.
You should have waited a little bit.
She was jumping the gun. And I also want to believe that she was part of those that influenced the REC to announce that result. I stand to be corrected.
Lawyer, you don't have evidence.
No, that's why I say I stand to be corrected.
Because that's what they will hold on to.
Yes.
So let's be careful.
But the fact, where I may be is that the reaction of INEC. We need to commend INEC.
Yes.
There are instances where they went wrong. Where they get it right, let us comment. In fact, in the course of position and we publishing that news, that first news, INEC came out within 2-3 minutes.
Yes, I expected it.
I wasn't even expecting it.
No,
the INEC that I knew.
I
wasn't sitting between the two.
I gave you what happened in Kogi.
Yes, so
and they stopped
between the three of us, I wasn't expecting but immediately it was somebody from Al Jazeera that called me. I said, CKN, that news about this is, I said, no, I said it was another, he said, CKN that INEC has tweeted. I said, it's not possible.
No, it's possible.
He just, that's what I'm saying.
We've been covering the elections. So, you can't point to a situation in which somebody did this kind of thing.
So
the law is clear that as strong as Igini was as a REC, Igini never went to announce results.
He never did. So the person sent me,
called
me all the way from Al Jazeera in Doha. I said, CKN, check up INEC, and I did, and I was so nice. So we are so happy that INEC is doing that. But follow this through. But the question is that INEC has to move in quickly as possible to make sure that this result is announced so that we don't have a breakdown of law on that.
All right, gentlemen, we need to talk about Alhaza Doguwa, who has proven to be the energizer bunny of Nigerian politics. Before that, Bikio, let me have your final take on this.
Yeah, I think that the nonsense that has happened has to be redressed. He has no power. And I'm happy he has been arrested. I'm sure in our subsequent engagements we'll see the video of him being arrested and led away. That is what he deserves. This REC is a disgrace. I've never seen anything like this. Even Ayo said he's never seen anything like it.
Even the security chief that stood by him.
The people, I'm sure they didn't know. The security chief that stood by him. I'm sure that they may not even have, they didn't know what he was trying to do. You know, and there was a speech that I wanted to read that they snatched from him. Yes. You know, so, and in that speech, he dismissed the exercise of yesterday, that all the results earlier announced were fake. I mean, what kind of a human being is this? That is why when people see us and abuse us, that we are a nation where anything can happen. This is the sort of people like this. But I want to believe that even in that INEC, there are decent people. You know, we can't dismiss everybody in INEC as bad because of the activities of some greedy people. We've seen them. In this election, a lot of them showed their faces. And they said, look, why did they change this result? If you have any reason, if you are threatened, you call the security. They'll give you protection. Look at the attempt, even in Kano, where they had an arrow. It stood his ground. Yes. In Abia, they had an arrow. She stood her ground. In Abia. A REC didn't intervene to say, no, you must do. No, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. They will take the right decision. The Nigerians are waiting for that right decision, and it shouldn't be long. If you could do the collation and the remaining 10 and Binani wins, although I don't expect that to happen.
That's the problem.
Because I don't see that mathematically happening. But just do the right thing, follow the law. That is what we want.
All right. So Al-Hassan Doguwa has secured his 5th term at the House of Representatives. Speak here.
He's going to contest. He had always wanted to be speaker. I remember interviewing one time and he told me that, look, it's my goal to be speaker. He's been in that house for God knows when. Now he wants to be speaker. We don't know where APC will zone the speakership to, but some are saying it will go to the North Central. If he's zone to the North Central, it doesn't stand a chance, except if he's going to go against the decision of his party. But his victory is impressive because he comes from a minority local government in that constituency. For him to defeat the majority, it shows that he has some gravitas. He's a very skillful politician, and I'm not surprised that he bounced back from the jaws of defeat. You know?
All right, Sikian.
Yes, 5th time. I think he's one of the longest serving member of that 5 times. That is 5 times 4. That's 20 years. So it's not easy. And what I like about him is very eloquent. He's one guy that he can, when he starts talking, you will know that he has the capacity. But as PK said, it also depends on the party where they are zoning to. Even when the party has zoned it, it is not concluded. Because if you realize what happened in 2015, where the party has agreed on who they probably have picked as the Senate president, but you saw the coup that happened. You saw the coup that happened. Yes, now you see the coup that happened in 2015, while they were going around Saraki connived with those from the opposition party, and he was elected. And good enough, this time around, there are a marginal number of opposition members that were elected in the House of Representatives. The Labour Party have over close to about 30 or 35 members of the House of Representatives. It has a bet. It's also going to depend, one, where the president of the Senate is going to. If he's zoned to a certain region, without blowing our own, my people have been saying it's our locon. So if it's zoned to the southeast, as my people have been clamoring for, that means that the speaker will definitely go to the north. But where exactly the north is going to, I don't know yet. But he has the capacity.
All right, gentlemen, let's quickly touch on some other topics. The Nigerian Labour Party has accused the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, of misinforming the international community. The federal government, through Lai Mohammed, had accused the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, and his running mate, Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, of treason during an engagement with journalists in the U.S., arguing that the duo had been inciting people to violence in the aftermath of the 2023 general election. But in its reaction, the national chairman of the Labour Party, Barrister Julius Abure, said it is the APC spokesman that have eaten up the polity. Abure said the information minister had gone on a familiarization tour of misinforming the international community of the true political situation in Nigeria. Ikeo.
Since the election happened, since the election ended, it's been the topsy-turvy affair between the spokespersons of the APC and those of the PDP, or the Labour Party, as well as the PDP. For a long time, Lai Mohammed didn't get involved in this whole thing. But suddenly, we came out to accuse Peter Obi of treason. As I've said at least twice, I do not see any evidence of treason committed by Peter Obi. If it was even that, based on what he said on channels, that he accused of treason, maybe I would not be bothered. But Obi has not said anything that points to that is treasonable. In fact, he was the one who told the supporters that ahead of the trial of the electoral matter before the tribunal, that they should not jam the court premises, that they didn't have to be there. So, to an extent, he's done his best to calm his supporters down. I don't think it was fair to accuse Peter Obi of treason. And he's very, even in picking his words, he tries his best to be calm. God created us differently. I don't think that he has that sense of moderation that Peter Obi has. Otherwise, he won't be looking into the camera and threatening and be saying that he does not fear anyone. You don't fear anyone. If Turuji leads bandits into your premises, do you have the capacity to stand up to him? Want to beg him? So people can say all kinds of things in our country knowing that nothing will happen. But Obi's people have also said that what Lai Mohammed and co are trying to do is to simply demarket him, make a critical segment of people who voted for him to begin to see him differently. In politics, this is a normal thing. You will not, you are not going to come out praising the opponent. My opponent is fantastic, this and that. Politicians don't have such commitment to objectivity. Now, Lai Mohammed went abroad and addressed some of the issues. For example, the issue of the phone call. Lai Mohammed said, yes, Peter Obi has commented about this phone call. He has said that the phone call is fake, and in another breath he said the phone call was doctored. So Lai Mohammed said he has more clarifications to make. He has to tell us which portion was doctored. Is it where you said, thank you, Daddy?
Yes, Daddy. Or
where you referred to the election as a religious war? It's about 1 week now since Lai Mohammed made those remarks. Peter Obi has not responded. And I guess he is convinced that the federal authorities know a lot more about that conversation, because some of the tools usually deployed to discover whether the conversation is fake, they've been deployed, and everything is pointing to the fact that that conversation is not fake. So it's understandable that he refused to respond to that one. He merely said, no, it's doctored and it's fake. He wants him to confirm, did the conversation take place or not? He has refused to answer. Then I also think that the matter of Obi's arrest in the UK, which the UK authorities are refusing to explain why. The Nigerian authorities too did not say a word. Is something that needs to be cleared. What really happened? We've heard that an impostor was using his name maybe to defraud people. But Peter Obi on his part has not come out to say, this was why I was arrested, these were the questions posed to me. And when his minders, without him sending them, came out to say, oh, the British authorities have apologized. Obi was quick in saying, no, they have not apologized to me. Because he could, in the final analysis, be accused by the Britons of selling a dummy. But that's his media office that came up with that explanation without the boss telling them to go and do it. Maybe they were expecting that, look, the Britons will eventually apologize. But we have seen now, since April 7, they've not said anything. We don't know why they will pick up this person. The West disrespecting Nigerian officials, Nigerian ministers, Nobel laureate Soyinka, it's not a new thing. They sent dogs to sniff Soyinka the other day to discover whether he had drugs on him. But the Britons owe us an explanation. You can't just pick up a high-ranking Nigerian without explaining why you did it. And you cannot say you do not know that this is the person. His passport and everything will show that this is Peter Obi, who contested the election in the country and came third. They can't claim that they didn't know that he was the one. So he's landing in Heathrow, you pick them up. They've got to explain to us why they did that. And I think Nigerian officials also need to ask the question, because it is Peter today. It could be someone else tomorrow. You just do it and then believe that you are no one explanation. All the Nigerian newspapers that are written to them asking for explanation why this happened, they said no. When it comes to individuals, we do not comment. So you have no. That's why some people like Femi Kanika, they are even claiming, oh, he was deported. He has no evidence of what he's saying. But I still think that the British authorities need to explain to us what's going on. I do not agree that this thing is APC instigated. I think the Britons are not that kind of people, that the political party will just say, embarrass this person for me. So I don't agree when Obi's media office says they know that APC is behind this. No, I don't think that is their nature. But there has to be explanation from the Britons themselves to tell us this is why they picked up the...
All right, Bikio. Now, Sikian, Bikio has raised another issue, so you're going to be reacting to two different issues now.
Well, first and foremost, the question to ask is that, why is it that after the election, is Obi that is being vilified everywhere? That is a very fundamental question to ask. Two, in our local parlance also, it is not easy for you to beat a child, or yes, beat a child, and still try to use hand to cover his mouth from. You know, our parents used to do it in those days. After beating you, because you remember now. They are beating you, but that you must not. It's not possible.
And so that neighbors will
not know that your parents.
Nobody will come to beg on your behalf.
That is exactly what is happening here. So the man has been defeated, or purportedly defeated. He's at the court, but you cannot stop him from talking. He has to talk. He is aggrieved. Stopping him from talking is recursing to anarchy or inciting people. And as Bikio rightly said, I would say it with all sense of unity that P2B is one of the finest politicians I've seen. If you see him talking, if you see the kind of things that comes out of him, he has never been combatant in his languages. Even to his own people that, whichever way you want to look at it, opposing him or whatever, anyway. See him everywhere he goes. There have been instances where even the governor of his state have tried to vilify him. P2B went there and was hugging the man. I'm talking of current governor. There have been so many other instances of that nature. So, but the fact remains is that I don't know whether it's a deliberate attempt to silence him as an individual or from saying what. In every, okay, I'm a twin. I have a twin. That's why you see, I'm Kende. I have a Taiwo. If you see my twin brother, he will be here for the next 3 hours. He will not say any jack. You leave him here, leave him with water, he will not drink that water. But leave BK and I here, just I alone. In the next 3 minutes, you will see what will be happening. So, that is it. Obi and his deputy and his vice are two different individuals entirely. So, one will blow hot, one will blow. Ashwaju is just Ashwaju and the vice. That's why he doesn't. If you see the way he talks, he's a big man. But when you see Shetima talking, because you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
When you see Shetima talking, you know that this one is firebrand, and that is what happens in politics. So, but it is a joint ticket. Now, going to the issue of we don't know what happened in UK. The fact is that we've been hearing about mistaken identity and the rest of them. He's not the first person. Okay. I went to the UK, I was in London about 3 years ago. I was detained at the airport for over 3 hours. For no just reason. They just say, oh, come, I should move. And just one, first and foremost, because I was carrying that green passport. I was kept aside. In fact, the rate at which they were moving Nigerians and putting them to the deportation point, they just ask you one or two questions, they just move to that point. The next thing, they're waiting for the plane coming to Nigeria, and they put you. If not for the fact that I'm a journalist, probably they've gone online, tried to do some search and the rest of them. And after the end, they say, we are very sorry. They give me back my passport and let me go. So we don't know what happened. Obi has not come out to say. But you can also say that some people have taken advantage of that issue on social media to start posting pictures, doctored pictures, because you must have seen the pictures where they were posting I'm sure you said that. Where they imposed that picture, and it was selling. People were selling that. I said, Abike had to go and beg as the chairman of Diaspora Commission. That is the social media we find ourselves. That is the system we find ourselves. That is where we are today. So most often than not, you see people talking on social media without having a cogent reason and information at their disposal.
All right. And
that is where we should separate ourselves as journalists from some of these charlatans. But the fact remains is that, as far as I'm concerned, what Mr. Lai Mohammed said about P2B in UK, and I don't know why he chose United States of all places to go and be making such issue. I expected him to have come. If you have such issue with P2B, I thought that would have been said. But since we started watching our dirty linen outside, it did not stop in United States. He went to UK, he went to London. He spoke in London as well on this same issue. I think everybody should just wait for the court to do their job. As far as I'm concerned, election has been won, it has been lost. Where we're moving to is now the court. Let us allow the court to do the needful and do their job so that we can be able to come to terms on this issue of the election and stop overheating the system. That's my
Thank you,
opinion.
gentlemen. All right. If you have been following the news on the state of the economy, you would have realized that Nigeria needs to start earning more pocket money and stop relying on its credit card. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has reiterated this advice to Nigeria to step up efforts to bring more people into the tax net, increase taxes, and reduce the country's debt burden. These suggestions emerged from the sidelines of the ongoing IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. IMF also restated the need for Nigeria to phase out its controversial petrol subsidy and redirect such funding to targeted subsidies on critical development drivers like health and education. The IMF noted that Nigeria's debt was projected to continue to rise. Mikhail.
Yes, I want to see us earn more money from taxation. I want to see us take taxation more seriously. The advanced countries of the world, like Norway, like the UK, you can't dodge tax. If you dodge it, you are going to jail. They've even jailed even some of their former leaders for refusing to pay tax. They don't play with it. In fact, the punishment in some countries, the punishment for manslaughter, it's not as severe as the punishment for tax evasion. That's to tell you that, look, you are robbing your country when you don't pay tax. But in our country, the efficiency of collection is what we should be talking about. There are many avenues through which the resources of our country are leaking. This is the truth. Some of our people are even already overtaxed. They are complaining. Local government will come collect its own tax. State government, from the same person, for the same reason, double taxation is happening. Double taxation is happening. So it's not even, yes, I know that there are many people who ought to be in the tax bracket that are not already in the tax bracket. It's a lot easier for the authorities to collect tax like pay as you earn. Those of us in the formal sector, we are workers here. From our salary, deduct at source. It's a lot easier for them to collect such taxation. But there are other people in business who are not paying at all. Some are paying, they are robbing the country. They bribe tax officials and ensure that it's just a little of what they should pay that they are paying. A lot of our big people who have big corporate concerns, they are robbing the country. They are not paying what they should be paying. And some of them are so big, some of them are so powerful that if you are not careful in harassing them, you could put yourself in trouble. So those cutting corners, we have to take a second look at them. That's why I talk about the efficiency of the collation. It's not, even in Lagos, despite Lagos internal generated revenue rising up to 50 billion a month, Lagos can still do better. But a lot of the people who ought to pay tax are not paying. That is a fact. So the government, the incoming administration, has to do something about our revenue. Taxation is a big source of revenue that we have not explored thoroughly. Everyone appears to think that, okay, since money will come from petrol, from crude oil, let's just focus on that. But we can't continue like this. If we were sourcing, getting impressive figures from revenue, we won't turn to Babiala as we have turned to globally. Just begging for, for loan all over the place. Everyone has seen now, except the blind, everyone has seen now that at the rate we are going, we will eventually need to borrow money to even service our debt. Because a particular quarter, I think last year or so, when we spent 118% of our revenue to service debt. During that period, South Africa spent only 20% of its own receipts, of its own revenue to service debt. We spent 118%. That's to tell you that we are in trouble. Even 80% is too high. 50% is too high. But we spent 118%. So we talk about debt to GDP ratio. I have always said I do not believe in debt to GDP ratio. It has to be debt to revenue ratio. Can our income, can the revenue that we earn support the rate at which we are accumulating debt? All of these people, this IMF and the rest of them, advising Nigeria, they are saying that, look, you can't continue to borrow in this manner. Focus on revenue. If you are able to earn more, then infrastructure will not suffer. You will find money to fix critical infrastructure instead of simply going to borrow money all over the world. And I'm happy that even the Senate president, who has always supported, who has always agreed to part with money every time, who has always supported the idea of borrowing every time the executive goes to them. The other day I was reading him, he said, our rate of borrowing is not sustainable. I said, oh, now you are making sense. Because by borrowing in the way we are doing, we are postponing the evil day. We are postponing, and I don't think that is really worth it. Everyone is complaining now. In the past, when people complain, they will say, oh, we are spending it on infrastructure, and don't talk. Oh, now you are not earning enough money to be able to even service the debts.
So, Sikian, BK has talked about tax evasion. IMF has also advised that Nigeria brings more people into the tax bracket. Who are these people?
Basically, when you look at tax and taxation or revenue, the problem we have in Nigeria is about threefold. Number one, tax waivers of the government. Most corporations, major corporations in Nigeria, big time listening, get tax waivers. Big time tax waiver. And there's nothing wrong. It's part of the economy. It's part of growth. It's part of mobilizing funds. But the way we go about tax waiving in Nigeria is not the way it's done. Where you see government will just say, oh, I've given so company.
Is this 20. A big man's problem?
Say what?
Is this a big man's problem?
Yes, it is to a large extent. It is the government, not even the big man. Because when you see somebody is bringing in goods into the country, are supposed to pay probably 20 billion. And you say, oh, because we want to encourage this, we want to encourage, you knock out 50% of that at that because you want to encourage the person to invest. That is done. It's done in most countries.
They are doing it for their friends.
That is what I'm saying. So it's for
their friends who complain about it.
That's if you see
some
how
of them are so strong, they are so powerful that if you try to move in, even your position could be.
Yes, if you see how much is being
we are losing
so much money. That is one. Second is corruption. Collation. Most of these people, especially in the federal agencies, if you see what these guys are making, they will collect certain amount, they will be able to post the amount, they will be able to. There are so many cuts here and there within the. Then the third one is unemployment. We have, which one are you going to tax? We have over 40% of Nigerians that are not employed. Those that are employable, over 40%. We have 130 million Nigerians under poverty line. Are you going to tax person that is under poverty line? What is he going to pay?
Multidimensional.
So that's multidimensional. You can see that that problem. So first and foremost is trying to scale up the SMEs, because that is where the money is. Scale up the SMEs. Make sure that the SMEs, those within the SMEs, be able to get their job, do their job, because over 80% of Nigerians are self-employed. They're in the SMEs. How many will the ministry employ? How many will the companies employ? Now, if you're able to scale up power, that is what we say, it is not just one. The problem is multifaceted. If you're able to scale up power, an average person that is a vulcanizer can do his job. The one that is doing sewing can do her job. The one that is doing barbing can do his job. When they have power to be able to do that, instead of relying on buying fuel at 100 or 2, I just came back from the east. They are selling fuel. The least I bought was 250,000, 250 naira per liter. 250, 270 in the southeast. In Lagos, it goes about 180 something. So you can see that. So before you can talk of taxing people, you must make sure that they even have a means of employment where they are making some earnings and be able to pay tax. So and the last one is trust. Most people are not paying tax because even the one that you paid to the government, you don't see what they are doing with it. If you pay tax, the rate of, if you see what they are paying in UK, somebody was telling me what he earns in UK and what he pays in tax. I was shocked. Almost 40%. Almost 40% of what he earns. So it means that if you're earning about 1,000 pounds, they are collecting almost 400 pounds on tax. But you see that your water, you get water. You know that there will power. You know that the road, you know that your their children go to school free, primary school free. So those are the so when people don't believe that what they are paying, they are getting some commensurate return. That also makes people not to pay. So that is then finally is the enforcement. Because you can put all the laws in place. If there's no level of enforcement, then so those are when we have done that, then we can now start talking about issue of the system. But why won't we borrow? There's nothing wrong in borrowing. I've said the time with that number. Countries borrow. You used to say local powers. America going to busy. You know, you used to say it a lot. When we talk, we say America is one of the greatest, I don't know whether it's one of the greatest debtors in the world. But you know why? They can take anything, they can go anything, because they have the capacity, they have the economy, they have the capacity to pay. Ours will be collecting. Even those that we borrow, we don't even use it for the basic infrastructures that we're supposed to use it for.
All right, gentlemen. So to add to that, there are also those who say there are those who pay taxes, but does not reflect in the database. Do we have a problem with the database?
Yes, database is a fact. Because if, for example, if you look at what is going for Lagos, it's because they'll be able to. And that is why when I see some people talk about the consultants in Lagos collecting tax, not doing that, this, and that, I laugh over it. You need to ask yourself, before they start doing that, what was Lagos making in terms of revenue? If you understand what I mean. Because you must be able to have a clear-cut database to be able to. There are so many. In Lagos, what Lagos is making so much is back. They have so many people within their database. So at any given point in time, you can always know who is paying and who is not paying. And some states have come to Lagos to be able to come and borrow that. Whether they're implementing it enough is what I don't know. But that is a very, very fundamental issue. Because, which is why now we are talking of population. In the next few weeks, we are going to population. The essence of also population is for growth, planning, and also be able to establish a data for Nigerians. Know those that are working, know those that are not working, know those that are earning. In certain countries, like let's say United Kingdom, they know what everybody is earning. As you are collecting your salary, it's even from source that is deducting. Right. You that is on your own, you're supposed to pay. If you don't pay, before you get home, you see they drop it for you. Look at some of this. Even look at it. Even fines. If you beat the traffic light, that is part of tax. If you beat the traffic light in UK,
Lagos is doing that now.
Yes, if you beat the traffic light, no policeman will run after you. Right. By the time you are getting home, you have your boss already.
I'll react to that, but it will be after this break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Countdown to the inauguration of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Nigeria's 16th president continues. More and more world leaders are showing solidarity with him in recognition of his well-deserved win. The United States, United Kingdom, China, Ukraine, France, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Cuba, Nicaragua, Namibia, and a host of others have already sent in their congratulatory messages. The ECOWAS Parliament and other ECOWAS bodies, the D8, that is, the Developing Aid Organizations for Economic Cooperation, the African Union, are among organizations that have recognized Bola Tinubu's impressive win in the presidential election held on the 25th of February, 2023.
The United States congratulates the people of Nigeria, President-elect Tinubu, and all political leaders following the declaration by Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission, or INEC, on the results of the February 25th presidential election. This competitive election represents a new period for Nigerian politics and democracy. Each of the top 3 candidates was the leading vote-getter in 12 states, a remarkable first in Nigeria's modern political era, reflecting the diversity of views that characterize the campaign and the wishes of Nigeria's voters.
Namibia also looks forward to a good working relationship with the incoming government of President-elect His Excellency Asiwayo Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The goal of world leaders is to partner with a prosperous Nigeria, the economic giant of the African continent. Tinubu's presidency is expected to usher in unprecedented growth and development across all critical sectors.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. This is journalist Hangout on Sunday, and I have in the studio Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Chris Kende Wandu. So Vikio, let me have you react to that. You know, I asked the question because a woman who sells soft drink at the garage, if you tell her she doesn't pay tax, she would disagree with you. Because the money these guys collect from her, maybe may not be
going to the
right quarters.
Yes, it's true. A lot of those boys, okay. All these motor guys, these Hutchins who collect money from bus drivers at motor parks. How many of the money, if we are to investigate, how are we sure that even a quarter of what they collect from those people go into the government coffers. You see the kind of life that their bosses live. So the truth is a good percentage of that money goes into private pockets. And that's why I was talking about the goal shouldn't simply be to increase taxes or create new taxes. The efficiency of collection that reduces human interference as much as possible should be our goal. Because when you bring in technology, you are guaranteed more money. For example, in TVC, for example, we can say, okay, no more, for now, we don't want, nobody should pay us cash for their transactions. Everything must be electronic. If you are able to guarantee that, you make automation of your transaction, your collection and everything, you automate the system, you will make more money because our people exploit a situation in which you do not, if you fail to automate your processes, you allow our people to exploit such an unfortunate situation. For example, there are civil servants who have their own tickets. You go to a ministry to pay, they have their own tickets. They've cloned the ministry's ticket. You are paying for that transaction, for the services provided you. If they cut like 5 tickets for themselves, they will cut maybe 10 for government. So the revenue is shared between them and government. So there's a Nigerian airline that is dead now. You are collecting cash from people and writing receipts, paper receipts, not automated, just paper receipts. You can be so sure that a good chunk of the money that the company should make will actually go into people's pockets because they will have found a way around it. But the moment you bring in technology as much as possible, all you need to do is go and pay. We travel, the parking lot is there, you pay. It's not nobody. It's all. You can't get out of the parking lot in the airport unless you present that automated or it's not manually generated. That receipt is the computer that gives you the receipt based on the accurate payment that you've made. That way, they're able to save money. Make money. So we shouldn't just simply tax Nigerians because these are difficult times. Let us even improve on the efficiency of collection, ensure that more and more of those taxes being paid actually get to the right quarters where it can be used for everyone's good. But if we just say, okay, let's tax people and we make some people richer from the taxation, then that is not the goal. Will have been defeated. We won't achieve the goal. So they are also talking about the fact that Nigeria is one of the countries with least taxation. Is still part of what we are saying that, look, we have not captured enough people, and then the efficiency of collection is not there. Lagos, I dare say, can even still make more money. The reason Lagos is special is, it's a commercial capital of the country. There are so many big corporations, big banks have their headquarters here, and they make money. Well, I'm telling you that there are still many people in Lagos who do not pay tax at all. They are feeding fat from the system. They are cheating the system. We have to make it difficult for people who must pay tax to escape payment of tax or to sidetrack payment. All of those people, the point that he raised earlier about waivers and the rest, I was time when the House of Reps was very angry that the executive should not give tax waivers without the National Assembly mandating it to do so. Because you are simply helping your friends, making them richer at the expense of the state. Where you are supposed to pay duty on certain goods, you say, okay, duty free. No, they should not pay. At the end of the day, who loses? It's our country. We can make much more money in Nigeria than we are making if we sanitize the process, if we block all the loopholes. Because the loopholes are so many. If we block the loopholes, we'll make money in so many places, make money in the master, make money in the post authority. All of those revenue generating agents, we have so many of them, but they are not generating enough.
All right, so why would anyone prioritize borrowing because the infrastructures are there to show for it at the expense of the crisis development as a result of our increased borrowings?
I think now government wants to make a difference. It wants to show that yes, it has done this, it has done this, and the funds are not there. It's not like during the First Republic, Second Republic, when we had so much money. Somebody even suggested that we didn't know what to do with it. Government will never find enough funds for its projects. The country is getting bigger, the population is getting bigger. You need to increase infrastructure. If our roads were narrow before, because population growth and more people buying cars, you then need to expand those roads. So we've had more dual carriageways in the last few years than we had for decades. So the point that I'm making is infrastructure is important. It is a response to exponential population growth, but the funds are not there. So government has to be creative. Instead of simply looking for money, borrowing money to fix infrastructure, get the private sector more and more involved. They've started something now, trying to get companies like Dangote and the rest of them to help build roads. Even NNPC has been given the go-ahead to spend some of its profit building roads in different parts of Nigeria. The point that I am making is we can actually do build, operate, and transfer. Angola is building a new refinery through build, operate, and transfer. After a while, it belongs to you. You have not spent a dime. It is the private sector that has brought the money. They will make their money, and once they've made their money, based on agreement that you reach, they concede the infrastructure to government, and government will begin to make money from it. That way, you escape borrowing fresh funds. But if you think that because the funds are not available, you must keep borrowing. Now look at how much we are spending. We can't be spending more than 93% to service debts. Even our budget, we can't find the funds to implement our budget. We still go and borrow. So at a point, it has to stop. All the talk about, is because of infrastructure. Even those who agree to it, I'm telling you, they too have now agreed that, it's like we have overdone this thing. No. Remember, even China the other day said, no, we are not giving you this loan. They've seen that it is becoming increasingly difficult for us to pay. Because you have to pay in foreign currency. And the value of the naira is going down. You earn a lot of your revenue in naira terms, but you must pay back in foreign currency. That's what is making the, That's what is making the debt servicing such a big problem for us, because you earn revenue largely in naira terms, and then
pay back in foreign currency.
Pay back in foreign currency.
CK, let me have your final take.
Yes, as I've said before, there's no problem with borrowing. But what do you put borrowing into? Under this government, we see some level of infrastructure development. Part of what we borrowed, we say we are using for the second Niger bridge. I passed through the Niger bridge yesterday. I saw it's ready. It's practically ready. There is no two way about that. It's the inner road that is being prepared now. But it is not just about borrowing. We can also do more to earn more. What we are lacking is ability to be able to attract foreign exchange. We are a country that produces crude oil, but buy petroleum. We are not talking about subsidy, removal of subsidy. If our refineries are working, we won't be spending that much foreign exchange that we are earning to import fuel. That is money that we can earn and use in other critical areas. So that is what we're talking about, issue of building capacity. We must make sure we also build our power. Look at power, look at petroleum, look at other issues. Then, if we'll be able to do that effectively, then employment will rise.
All right.
You cannot continue to say raise tax. Continue raising tax. If you continue raising tax, we have problem. There is a level to which you can raise tax. But a population that is underemployed, totally underemployed, it will be difficult for you to be able to meet your revenue when it comes to tax. So you must look for alternatives to be able to cushion that, and that is the fact.
Thank you, Sikian. Thank you very much, Bikil. All right, let's turn to cases of fraudulent Ponzi faster than a pile of dry leaves in Harmattan season. In a country where some hardly learn from the past, popular skits maker Chukwuemeka Emmanuel, popularly known as Sabinos, has been called out by Nigerians online for allegedly working with an AI mining firm. Meanwhile, Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Segun Rusewe, has called for strategic rethinking on cultural-related narratives by creatives and filmmakers in Nigeria to avoid public resentment and reactions. His advice comes in the wake of the uproar generated by the production of a new film, Gangs of Lagos. Bikil, you know, I read that Nigeria has lost over 300 billion naira in Ponzi skills in 5 years. So I'm wondering, isn't this, you know, huge enough to scare?
Let's even use the example of push betting. There are people who die who prefer to die rather than not get involved in push betting. It has ruined many people, but many people still think, my chance will come. Nothing can stop me. Now, the Ivory push betting has been kind of deodorized, if I can use that word, made finer than the way it was when we were growing up, when we had just a few of them. This Baba Jebu, this man, Willie Obion.
Face to face.
Willie Obion. You know? Now we have so many of them, and it's being done electronically. People still think that, look, especially young people without any form of employment, when they wake up in the morning, that's where they are going. Manchester, Nottingham Forest. Even in our office here, you know how many of these young boys are into. They think that's the way to augment the salary that Andrew Anlong pays them. So many people, once you get involved in it, it's difficult to stop. It's difficult to stop. And initially, these con artists cheating Nigerians through these Ponzi schemes, they will first give it an air of transparency. You will see people close to you who will make some money. But after a while, it ends in tears. That's the way I say it. It ends in tears. They will always find a way to cheat people because some of our people are greedy. For some of us, don't even talk about it where we are. We will run away. But some people know, they think that, they will be lucky. Magelone. That's why you see, a couple came together, fleeced Nigerians, and then fled abroad. Again.
Yes, now.
Yes, they cheated our people and fled abroad.
I read that story.
Yes, now.
Yeah.
Billions.
Yes, they fled
billions.
abroad. And
the billions.
Nobody has been able to bring them back to come and account. Even if they bring them back, can they refund that money? They will just go to jail, no?
Billions.
You know?
Okay, so before we get to celebrities who involved in this, Mikhail just said it ends in tears, and for a fact is that all has been ending in tears. So why do people continue to get involved? Is it greediness or what?
It's greed. It's greed. Because not only those ones, because even there are some small finance houses that are hanging around, and they tell you if you put 10,000 naira every month, we're going to give you 2,000, 3,000. You put 100,000.
Forum.
Yes. Remember Forum now?
They were the
that is it's happening now. You know, people are ready to take chances, but most often than not, just like BK say, is tears. Not only tears, sorrows as well. It's sorrows and tears, because sorrow is different from Bella put it. It's sorrow's strategy, and that is what they're using. Use one, the poverty level of our people and desperation on the part of Nigerians.
Yes.
People are extremely desperate now to make ends meet, and whatever comes attractive to them, they go for it. Now, when we're talking about this issue, they now also realize that the only way that they can be able to get this message through is by using certain individuals who have faces, who are popular, and the rest of them, what we call endorsements. And once it is endorsed, oh, it is right. It's not only this particular instance. There are some of these estates, you know, good, that's property, I think that's the right word. Most of the properties, companies, they have been going around duping Nigerians. And most of the ambassadors are celebrities that pay 500,000, you get a land at Aja, or you get a Magodo, or you get a this thing. And you see every time they will show you, somebody will come, a celebrity, and they say every Easter they will give you ram on top of it and the rest of them. You see people pay, at the end of it, or they don't get some of this. So, yes, that is very, very wrong. And that is where I think our consumer protection agencies have not been doing what they're supposed to be doing. Okay. Nobody helps the consumer here. They are left on their own. But there are laws against this. If you look at our laws, there are so many laws. If for whatever, for any reason, you are used for any particular event, marketing, or whatever, then you should be held responsible. I'll give you a classical example. That is not only consumer protection. Our agency, it used to be APCON. They've changed their name now. Is it ABON or whatever they call them now? They used to be APCON. Yeah. APCON I used to be APCON. I'm a member of APCON. APCON ought to vet every advertisement that goes on television, on radio, online, newspaper, name it, before it goes. Because you just suddenly, if you look at some of these, okay, let's take this one, the classical example. Most of the advert of this particular company were run on radio stations.
So I heard.
It were popular radio stations, television stations. Now, people, even they don't believe on this artist, the fact that it's running on a popular television station gives people the impression that this is real.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm trying? It gives it. So, in the course, until we start taking some of our people responsible for, until people start suing television stations, start suing radio stations, start suing certain individuals for deceiving them on this. The MMM came here. Some people died due to the collapse of MMM. They died. There was one that they were doing, billions of naira that people put their money. The guy died, the Oyibo man died. They couldn't get the password. Go and Google it. They couldn't get the password to whatever he was in. He kept it with a billion. The guy died. And it is happening there. But I think
it's made enough, they will crash.
They just crash. They crash it. You know, it's a multi-level marketing system. So I'm also doing the one that they say, bring one, when you come, bring 2 people. They'll be scaling it up. 3 people.
The more people you
bring and the rest of them. It goes to a point and I have not seen the government process, at least Nigerian government. Abroad, it is not always like that. If you are caught doing that, whether you are going bankrupt or not, you will pay dearly for it. But here, the customer or the she's a member of that consumer protection. I think this is where they should be looking at now. So as to save Nigeria, the little money that Nigeria, if they after telling you what you need to do, if you now decide on your own that you want to go and commit suicide by putting your money there. But the fact is that we must try to bring certain people to. It's not about the husband and wife. If you see what that, some of those that promoted that scheme were celebrities.
Okay, so because you've mentioned celebrities now, and before we go into the second part of this discussion, for a celebrity, where does a celebrity draws the line, especially for those who are not just after the money?
Let me tell you, I am the leader of the Celebrity Special Marshals of the Federal Road Safety Corps. The FRC holds me responsible for anything most of those marshals do. We have a coordinator. I used to be coordinator for about 10 years. There's somebody coordinating now. Now, as if Jide is called to come and be an ambassador, let me say, of CKN Burantashi, Jide should ask himself, first and foremost, has he used Burantashi before? Yes, because before whatever you are going to market, you should be able to know. If he had not, now, is it just for the... Because most often than what they do is that it's for the money. It's not because of the fact that they believe on the product.
No, they just want to make...
Just want to collect their money.
And the detriment,
of this thing. They collect their money.
A lot of them are they are brand ambassadors to people who sell land and all that.
That is what I'm saying.
They do not know whether
those
people actually get given given land.
Yes. At times they give them one. At times they give them one.
Yeah.
To attract what they do. Let me tell you the way they will give you one as an ambassador. You collect that one. They pay you maybe 1 million or 2 million, and you become the next thing you start seeing your faces everywhere and using it to attract people. And at the end of it, there's a particular actress that came out to renounce. You remember? Yes. That came out to renounce that. Please forgive me. Please, I'm no longer. Don't deal with. I have seen these people and I've got because she has conscience. So many others. There are some others there that are still there.
Well, just cash out and go. That's their own.
All right.
It's the same for Sabinos, for example. Now they are saying that that company that defrauded Nigerians. Yes, that he appeared in their promotional adverts and all that, and that many people were drawn to it by the face of Sabino. So they did a petition. They are saying the EFCC should arrest him so that he can help them to mask the identity.
Because they don't even know the owners.
Yes, because somebody must have contacted you from there. You know, so they want to unmask the people behind.
Somebody must have registered their CAC
this
as well.
Yes, so they believe that for somebody like Sabinos to have appeared in their promotional videos, he should be able to mention who contacted him. And the same is also true of TV stations.
Yes,
TV stations, radio stations, and the rest of them. Those FM stations running adverts. TV stations running adverts. People, they've leveraged on the popularity and acceptance of those TV stations to fleece our people, to defraud our people. So these stations have to be sure of who the people they are dealing with. Don't help these people to defraud Nigerians. That is the point. And this is my own takeaway from what from the petition against Sabinos. People, you are a famous skit maker. Before you agree to do those promotional videos, because it takes time now to do those promotional videos. Before you agree, you need to know those people. I'm telling you that some of what our people are doing, all these celebrities that are doing and getting away with, they can't try it abroad.
You can't.
Once it happens, you are both liable now.
You're going for your liable by law.
All right. So the second issue is the DG of the National Council for Arts and Culture has pleaded with the Lagos State government. And this is saying that as we appreciate the fact that the younger generations, the Gen Zs, have an expository about what our culture stands for, it is also important that our filmmakers also do a proper research. Sikian.
Well, I agree. looking at Nollywood now, specifically, when Nollywood started, one of the basic elements was to promote our culture, our lifestyle, and the way we do things. And that was what made Nollywood the biggest movie industry in the whole of Africa, and the second in the world, even over and above Bollywood at a point. But in terms of revenue, it might not be the same. When you look at the number of movies being churned out every day, in fact, I'm sure we churn out more movies than even Hollywood. Now there was some level of acceptance. But as time goes on, the difference between what we do and what is done abroad is, you see some level of patriotism. If you see an average American film, most people don't understand how this thing works. If you see an average American movie, in the course of that movie, you will see American flag. People don't know. You just think that, to you just think that it's just, they are subconsciously selling themselves, selling their culture. If you see a Chinese film, the same thing. If you see this thing, the same thing. But ours here, people just believe, oh, let's just turn it out and so. There have been some movies there's a particular one that is causing so much content. I have not watched it, so I cannot even comment about it. But I've read so many commentaries, even people say that the movie did not depict Lagos in a very good manner, it has not did and the rest of it. But a lot of research needs to be done. Now, we have an organization that is in charge, set up by the government, that is in charge of movies. I've forgotten the Film and Censors Board. Film and Censors Board. It is their duty to be able to make sure that every movie that is turned out in Nigeria is approved, gets approval. But you can be rest assured that, one, the corruption that's within the system won't allow that. Because the producers, once they throw money at whoever, the approval will just be giving you just as we're talking about what is happening in radio stations, the jingles and the rest of them, when I was working, I don't know whether you have it in TVC, like what we call traffic. In those days, when I started my journalistic career at Lagos Television. That's what is called traffic. If this thing does not pass through traffic, it will never go on air. I'm sure you have it. They might call it whatever name. It could be quality control, whatever. Yes, it will not go. It will not go on air, irrespective of whatever money you pay. TVC.
Oh, we have it.
You have it because of the level of profession. There are some radio stations that don't have it. All they do is bring your jingle. How much is 10,000 naira? They say pay, take it. It goes on. It goes off.
All right, Bikio, I haven't seen Gangs of Lagos, but I understand that aside the Lagos state government saying what it is about this movie, we've also seen some chieftains, Lagos chiefs, saying pouring out their own minds. And we also had Vector, who is not really known to talk a lot, also saying there is something not going well.
Yeah, especially the portrayal of Eyo as violent, as criminal-minded and all that. You know, Eyo, Eyo has never been known for
violence,
being violent and being criminal in nature. So you can't, when you are talking about even the underworld people, the negatively inclined roughnecks in Lagos, you cannot link them to Eyo, for God's sake. Even when they are singing, they are praying for people. You know, if you listen to their song that was praying for you to be fruitful, praying, you know. So they are not. It's not as if because you see them carrying a plank sheet that they are using it to beat people. No. Even if I've seen where you will just like party you on the back with it. They are not. They are not going around clubbing people with that stick. It's more. It's a culture. It's part of the culture of Lagos, but it has never been identified with violence. If anybody does a movie that portrays Lagos to be so crime infested and portrays the Eyo as being the enablers of violent people in Lagos, then that is wrong. And it shows that the census board didn't do its work.
Exactly.
Because where people are negatively portrayed, you've got to be able to say, no, don't do this.
Remove that.
So, what is the knowledge, the all-round knowledge of Lagos that the writers of that movie have? It's just like saying, oh, in Kano, when they do the Doba, oh, they use it to beat up people, to kill people and all that. And of course, that's not what it's about. It's just an element of the people's culture, something that draws people together. They want to see it, you know what? And is the rarefied chiefs of Lagos that even carry a yo. So to identify them with criminality in the way that the movie has portrayed them is very bad. It's very, very bad. And I can understand why the Lagos governor and other people are really mad that you have been portrayed in this manner. Secondly, whether people like it or not, the fact is Lagos is one of the most peaceful states in our country. All of the crimes, especially kidnapping, that we read about in other places, even in the southwest here, Lagos has the lowest level of kidnapping, if at all it even exists. It's in other states, Oyo, Osun, and that's where you hear of kidnapping. Ondo, which is the gateway to the north. That's where you have a lot of kidnapping. In Lagos, it's literally non-existent. I think even the last time I heard about it was one retired naval officer or so that was kidnapped through the waterways. It rarely happens. The school kidnapping that happened in Lagos was years ago.
Even the one of the popular female artists that was to happen a few days ago.
Yes, they left it in the board.
They left it in the board.
It didn't happen. So Lagos is not, you can't identify, I mean, you cannot make it look like Lagos is so infested with crime. Lagos is such a terrible place when it comes to crime. No, the facts do not point to that. And it's the entertainment capital of our country where you expect that, okay, there will be a lot of crime. But Lagos has shown, is said to be one of the most peaceful states in our country, one of the least infested by criminals. To come up with a movie that tries to show that Lagos is terrible, let such people go to some states in the north and even in the south and see the level of crime in those places. It's not right at all. I'm really disappointed.
So, as much as we appreciate of young producers and filmmakers putting Nigeria on the global map, it's also very important to say that thorough research is very,
they should do more research. You don't just pick up a script and just go and start shooting.
All right, let's get to the final discussion for today. It's a battle of the titans as lawmakers jostle to lead the 10th National Assembly following the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections. A few returning lawmakers in the Green Chamber have indicated interest in the number 4 job. Amongst them is Yusuf Gagdi, a former Speaker of Plateau House of Assembly, Ahmed Wasir, the incumbent Deputy Speaker of the House and 5-time lawmaker in the National Assembly. Others are Aliyu Betara, Chairman, House Committee on Appropriation, and Benjamin Kalu, the spokesperson of the House. Let's listen to Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, one of the contestants making waves to the contest for Speaker of the House of Reps.
This country. Mr. Speaker, there's a sensitive nature to some of the videos that you make comment about. How can a Boko Haram kill a citizen of Plateau, for instance? And before shooting the man, you say you are revenging until you wipe out all the Christian people in Plateau. It brings religious disharmony. It instigates misunderstanding amongst our various faiths. Mr. Speaker, until and unless, if we are here to speak for our constituents, I don't care talking for the people of Plateau, talking for the people of Kwanshinkanche constituency, even at the risk of sounding immodest to the federal government. The federal government strategy in times of maintaining the security of this country must be looked at, must be adjusted, must be changed. Nigerians are dying, and it is unacceptable to the generality of people of this country. Until and unless, Mr. Speaker, we shy away from all political sentiment, tribal sentiment, religious sentiment, and work up to the responsibility of talking in such a manner that the security situation in this country will be controlled. Do not hope, Mr. Speaker, that we have timeline or future expectation in controlling insecurity problem in Nigeria. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, as usual, for giving me the opportunity to say my mind in this regard.
Thank you, Honorable, that they make. So I am in full total agreement with you that our military, our men and women in uniform are doing so much out there, and we must continue to appreciate them. It is noteworthy that Honorable Gagdi is a Muslim from Plateau State, and that tells you, the contents of his debate tells you that the war of religion that sometimes afflicts us is not is isolated to a few elements who misunderstand religious issues. Thank you for your contribution, Honorable Shatima.
Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues.
Gentlemen, looks like the battle has really begun. I hope I'm correct. About 10 aspirants, if I'm correct. And we also have the speaker saying, as at this moment, he does not have any preferred candidate, or that all of them to make sure that they are peaceful in all of their doings. Bikio.
I think this will be one of the most interesting contests for the job of Speaker of the House of Representatives, and I'll be happy for the media to even organize a debate
For them all.
between these people, because we are seeing some high-quality lawmakers throwing their hat in the ring, showing their interest, even before the APC leadership officially declares which zone the job of the Speaker will be zoned to. And they are already working hard, reaching out to new members and all that. A lot of things will shape the contest. Age, competence. This Honorable Gagdi, Yusuf Gagdi, is 41. He was Deputy Speaker in Plateau State House of Assembly. But something drew my attention to him. As a first-time Speaker in the House, as a first-time member, 6 of his bills were given assent by President Muhammadu Buhari. It's unprecedented. Nobody coming into the House of Reps has ever achieved that feat. To even have your bill assented to, it's not easy. 6. When the president, they will give the president like 16 bills, give assent. 6 of those bills were sponsored, self-sponsored by Right Honorable Gagdi. They call them Right Honorable once you've presided over a house. One of the most significant bills that I've seen is the repeal of the Police Act, because since 1941, we've been using the Police Act that the colonialists gave to us. It was this young man that came up with the idea of repealing that act and replacing it with a police act that the average policeman must be proud of. Today, the new police act has nullified inequality within the police. Women can now rise even to the level of Inspector General of Police.
Impressive.
Based on the new police act that he came up with. And not only that, you cannot arrest a woman, because the husband is a suspect. You know, the police do it a lot. They come into my house, you are my wife, because they can't find me, they will take you away. This new police act has nullified that. Nobody is now, you cannot arrest even a relative of that person in lieu of the real suspect. Yes, you can only arrest that person after you have arrested the main suspect. Maybe both of them are culpable and all that. But to go and pick up somebody's younger brother in lieu of the person that you are after, no more. And 5 other quality bills. The 7th bill is still waiting for assent. I don't know whether the president will give assent to a 7th bill by an individual. Oh. How many bills does a president even give assent to in 8 years? And one person coming up with 6. And in his, they call his constituency PKK, Panshin Kanam. And is it, I've forgotten the name, the third, but they call that constituency PKK. Panshin, trying to get Panshin Kanam Kanke constituency. That's a constituency with 70% Christian. But because of his detribalized nature, where he gives resources to both Christian and Muslim, even Christian clerics preach in church to say, look, these are the kind of people that our people should vote for. He's someone that I'm really, the few occasions that I read stuff about him, I've been really, really impressed. And I think that he's someone who has energized this race. No one can say at this point who will win, because we still have people like Betara, you know, the Chairman's Committee on Appropriation, who is from the Northeast, he's from Borno State. But you and I know that it will be difficult if a Borno man is actually number 2 man to say the number 4 will also be from Borno. It will be difficult. That's the essence of trying to come up with this zoning arrangement. But there are others too, like Wase, the deputy speaker, who is also from his state, you know. And then Doguwa, now that he has virtually won the race, is going to make the race even more interesting. But for now, the way it's going, I like the way it's going. I like the quality of people who really want to contest. And Benjamin Kalu, let's not forget him, from the East. He said, look, I joined the APC when nobody wanted to touch APC. Speaking for APC, it's my turn. Everything revolves around what the party will say. I know that the party has the final say on where they are zoning to vote.
All right. Siki, and how interesting does it get for you? We also have a woman, Princess Onoha from Imo State.
That is where I was going to. My sister from Imo. The only woman standing. The function, we need to understand the function of the legislator. And this has to do with representation, oversight function, and also instituting constituency projects. And issue of legislation, which is very fundamental. That is meant introducing bills, quality bills, and the rest of them. When you look at the whole lot, very, very qualified Nigerians, legislators with serious pedigree. The issue being left by Wajabi Amila is a very big shoe, sincerely. He has tried. I'm not just saying it because he's a fellow Igbobian like me. He attended Igbobi College, so wherever we are very noble, we perform. He has done so well for himself, and we, all students of Igbobi College, need to salute him. We are proud of him, what he has done, and wish him well wherever he's going. But looking at the number of contestants so far, about 10 of them I can tell you that any one of them can fit into this shoe. And Gwase did very well. Whenever the speaker wasn't around, he was able to fit in. Although I have my reservation about him on some of the things he was doing. There are 1 or 2 times that I totally disagree with him on some of the bets. I cannot use that to judge. We cannot use that to judge him. Now, this very young man we are looking at. I've taken my time also. I've gone through practically the resume of all of them. But I'm impressed with Yusuf Gadi. If you check through and see what he did at Plateau State House of Assembly, marvelously well. And now, when he came to the National Assembly, he has also done, he's one of those. You know, when you look at the chamber, when the camera pan at the chamber, you can count the number of people that come for sitting.
Yes.
Yes. Either the Senate, it was only, I don't know when they come, whether it's during the time of sharing, I don't know, that you see them. But when you, if you understand, but when you pan the camera, you can count the
when they want to.
When they want to.
No, when they want to clear Senate.
But you go and check most of those clips, you only see this young man. And that, I'm even surprised that he's about 41. I'm very shocked. The quality, when he talks, his presentations, when he supports bills, when you will come to realize it's somebody that also calms nerves. When there's any kind of this thing within the house, he's not the type that will go to the left or to the right and fight. He's the type that is.
You can't even the speaker said that despite how you are a Muslim.
The fact that I remember most of the time when you have those skirmishes in Plateau State, even as a Muslim, you see him coming out and saying, no, this must not be. So that kind of a person, totally, if the Senate presidency is going to go to the southeast, Jumoke is looking at me. BKO. If it's going to go to the southeast, I'm saying if it's going to go to the southeast as we want it to go to the southeast, since we couldn't get the president and vice president, it's going to the southeast, then definitely the speakership will go to the north. And it cannot go to the north. It cannot go to the north. North Central have never produced any speaker in the last time. We from the south we've produced, at least to a large extent, deputy speaker and the rest of them. But I hope that their colleagues will be able to look in-house thoroughly and make sure that whoever they pick is somebody that can be able to fit in and be able to stabilize the house. Because most often than not, the problem is not with Senate. Because we look at those in the Senate as a bit more mature. Politically, they are more mature. You don't see them. Where the problem is always is in the House of Representatives.
Because they are younger.
Because they are young people that is still young.
So much energy.
There's somebody that is presently that is about 28 years that is elected as a House of Representative member. So you can see the energy in them and the rest of them. So we need somebody that can be able to stabilize. Somebody that has between like the old and the old and young. That is what I'm going between the old and young. Right. And someone, I hope that he gets it. But if he doesn't, I know he will also support. But this quality of those contesting is going to be a very, very good.
You know, out of the bills that he came up with, some are for institutions. There is a new, he came up with a bill for a training institution, a training university for the Navy.
BKO, there are some people that have been in the House and Senate
we can't even hear any
that don't have one single bill.
That's why I'm surprised.
Do you know what to take to pass a bill and go for assent?
And President will give assent to 6.
President will give access 6, though it is not easy. Because it will go through the process, and you know what happened in our National Assembly? Once at the end of this term, whatever bill that was not passed, we go back. They will start all over again. That's if you are coming back. You go all over again. It's not like a system where you see that, they will continue for. No, it starts all over again. So for somebody within the period, that means that it is within the period of 4 years. I think it has what it takes.
All right, so before we go, BKO, finally, now it is on record that Nigeria has produced many speakers since the First Republic. Now, this is the 10th Assembly coming up. What are expectations?
Yes, we... just as he said, Speaker Gbajabiamila has done a tremendous job, always stepping in during difficult times to speak for his country. I'm really, really impressed with his leadership style, and the standard cannot drop. Gbajabiamila gave a project, 5 billion, there are new outpatient section for Luth that will have 250 rooms. You know what that means? 250. Giant project. And everyone who has been to Surulere can attest to the good work that Gbajabiamila has done. This Gadi is a younger version of Gbajabiamila. When I was reading about the projects that he has executed in his area, it's like we are even talking about a governor. Oh. So it's a thing of joy that we have someone this young, this energetic, and making the right impact. Making the right impact. There's a bill that I saw that something like that will produce, that will generate funding for the Navy to be able to buy the kind of equipment that they need, a kind of trust fund, a bill for a trust fund for the Navy, the Committee on Navy. So he has really done well. We know that in the coming days we'll talk about the rest of them, but I think that at this time, the standard that Gbajabiamila has set must not drop at all, and their colleagues will be able to look inwards and ask themselves who the cap fits between Betara, if it continues to push for it, Wase, who is also from Plateau State, like his younger brother, Yusuf Adamugagdi. Wish them good luck.
All right. Thank you very much, Bikio. Thank you very much, CK. And this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/Treason News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Ramadan, the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, is here again. This is a wonderful time to learn more about Islam and give to the cause of Allah. It's also a time when extra emphasis is on charity and good neighborliness. From the first day to the last day of Ramadan, join us on TV